Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you guys an extra warm welcome. I would love it if you grab this now, stay for a while and click the subscribe button. I would love to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. So as you can tell by the title of the video, we are going to review the new Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette. This is the Nouveau, I believe that's how you pronounce it, eyeshadow palette. It was just released, so I'm going to go ahead and create 2 eye looks, show you some swatches and all the good stuff. So if you would like to see what my thoughts are on this eyeshadow palette, then just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright guys, so this new Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette, they said or showed how you pronounce it on their Instagram stories. I believe I'm pronouncing it correct, but if I'm not, you are more than welcome to correct me down below. But here is what the unicorn looks like. I really like this green. It reminds me almost of a sage green. So this has a 12-month shelf life and it was made in the USA, which I love. And here is the palette itself. So I'm just going to show you the shades. And as you can tell, it's kind of, for me, like a neutral palette with a couple of pops of color in there, like that purple, this orange right here, and this duochrome here. But to me, it's a pretty neutral palette. I know a lot of people said that it reminded them of fall, but honestly, when I see this, I think of spring for some reason. I don't know. But the material is, like, you can hear the texture. It reminds me of like wick, kind of that material that the patio furniture in your backyard is made out of. That's what this reminds me of. Okay, so I'm gonna scoot you in, get started with the eye looks, and then we'll do comparisons and swatches after the eye looks, just because I like to get the eye looks out of the way. Alright guys, let's get started with eye look number 1 with the new Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I believe the way you pronounce it is Nouveau Palette. In case you haven't seen, which I'm sure you have, here she is untouched. I have not even swatched this. So this is an M441. First shade I'm dipping into is going to be this shade right here, which is Metro. And I think I'm going to use that in the outer corner, and I'm going to wing it out. Probably lower lash line. About halfway in, there is kick up in the palette. In case it's been a while, it's very normal for Anastasia Beverly Hills. Okay, now I'm going to jump in to Muse right here. And that one looks like it's a tiny bit of a metallic shade, but it's okay. We're gonna make it work. This is Morphe Aerial A29. It's like a flat, fluffy brush. Yeah, it feels like it might be a satin, maybe metallic kind of shade. Ooh, I might have picked up too much. Okay, and this is going to go in the outer corner. Deepen it up a tiny bit. And a tiny bit down here. All right, now I'm going to dip into this one, which is Floor. And this is just like an e.l.f. blending brush. It's like a flat, fluffy brush. And this is going to go right next to that other shade. And I'm kind of tapping first and then blending. And I only dipped the tip into it, and I'm going to bring that in the inner lower lash line since it's bare. All right, and now with this Rougher 01 brush, which is also like a flat, fluffy brush, I'm going to dip into the lightest shade in the palette. This one right here, and that is Paloma. And this is gonna go in the inner corner, and I'm going to tap it in first and then blend the edges. now for the star of the show, which I'm sure everybody wants to dip into that color, is the lavender purple, which is called Wisteria. This is a Morphe brush. It's just like a small precision pointy brush. I'm going to put that in the inner corner. Pretty. So these lighter shades are actually popping out more than I expected them to. I didn't think you were going to be able to see them, and you can really see them without having to try too hard. All right, guys, so here is eye look number 1. I did not mean for it to be an all matte eye look, but I'm not mad at it. It's such a soft, timeless kind of eye look that I didn't feel it needed actual lashes. So I kind of just built up my mascara. I did go in to ColourPop Cantaloupe liner for the waterline and tightline, which is like a nude type of shade. I totally forgot to bring my Anastasia Beverly Hills lip liner and lipsticks, so I went in with a Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in Exposed and I think Gimme S'mores crayon, like the little crayon lip balm thing from ColourPop, and called it a day. But yeah, here it is. Let me know what you think, and let's go ahead and move on to eye look number 2, which I feel should be a little bit more dramatic. All right, let's get started on eye look number 2, and I think I'm going to focus on green tones for this eye look. First shade I'm dipping into is Liberty. This is a Refer 01. It's like a fluffy flat brush, and I think I'm going to do a halo eye. I haven't done a halo eye in quite a minute. I did use the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I'm going to focus this in the inner corner. It's a pretty green. It reminds me of the cover of the palette, which I feel looks like a sage green. Also in the outer corner, you guys already know I like to wing my eye look out. Lower lash line as well, but only about a third weight. All right, now I'm going to dip into Peacock, which is kind of a duochrome shade. This is a Morphe brush, and it's just like a small fluffy precision brush. I'm pretty sure I can pick this up. Yeah, I picked up product. I'm going to use this to deepen up the inside of that kind of sage green. Right, and here as well. Hopefully there's a tiny bit of fallout, so maybe with the Anastasia Beverly Hills formula that we know so well to be super powdery, do your eyes first. All right, that is what that is looking like. Now I think I'm going to jump into this shade right here. What it is, Lily. I think so. Yeah, Lily. Let's do Lily, and it's gonna go in the middle. Oh yeah, pretty. Lily. So pretty. Okay, and with that same Morphe brush, I did wipe it off with my Sigma Switch. We are going to jump into this shade, which is called Wings. And I lightly dipped the brush in there, and I'm going to just lightly tap this right in here, following almost that wing that I have. Let's see if it gives it a different shade. And maybe a tiny bit right in here. All right, that's what we got. Now we're going to jump into a matte. I feel like I didn't use too many. Paloma right here, the lightest one in the palette. And I'm actually going to use that in my inner corner. And I'm going to bring it down and connect it down here about halfway in, because I did not put anything in that inner corner. This is a Sigma E54. I am surprised at how well every single shade that I have used works with a brush. Like, no issues whatsoever. That's nice. Because, you know, some people don't like to use their fingers for like shimmer shades. All right, I have a very fluffy brush here. It's a Morphe M441. Going to dip into Paloma, like very lightly. All I'm going to do is kind of just make everything look seamless. So right at the edges, just kind of buff it out, make it look almost airbrushed. Right at the edges. All right, guys, and here is the final eye look. I definitely like it more than I thought I was going to. I decided to not put any lashes on. I have been keeping up with my lash serum and I feel like they look good right now. I did go into a Wayne Goss eyeliner. This is in Copper Flame. I also did use my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil. I do still enjoy that. I used a cream blush from Anastasia Beverly Hills in Pink Dahlia. And I did also use the stick highlighter in Drippin' in Gold. The highlighter formula, I don't like it as much. I feel like it's a tiny bit too glittery and the shade I got is too gold for my personal taste. For the lips, I have on Taupe Beige, and then I put just a tiny bit of one of her lip liners. This is in Raisin, and just kind of smudged it. I literally put it right in the center of my lower lip and the top lip. But yeah, here is the final eye look. I think it looks beautiful. All right guys, so let's go over pricing because I do know that the price went up. Her normal eyeshadow palettes I think are like $46, correct me if I'm wrong, and these are typically the size of the eyeshadow palettes, which this palette is pretty much the same length and it's just a tiny bit shorter. For the eyeshadow pans, they're smaller on the older style, and there is 14 shades in the older style. For the new style, the pans are actually bigger and you get 12 shades instead of 14. So we got bigger pans, 2 less shades, about the same size. Inflation, bigger pans. I think it's a mixture of everything. I enjoy this new packaging. I think they did a really good job with the aesthetics of this palette, and I also do enjoy the pan sizes. Now, as somebody who has as much makeup as they do, these size pans probably would make more sense for me personally, but it's fine. That's not a big deal. All right, I did want to do just one comparison because I did see a couple of pictures going around of people trying to compare this one to the Tiny Marvels palette that Mel Thompson collaborated with Sydney Grace. Now, I do see why people kind of say that, and I think the main culprit is this shade right here, which reminds a lot of people of the duochrome in this palette. So let's just compare those two and the purple too. There's a purple in here. Let's compare the purple as well. All right. This one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and this is the Sydney Grace. So it's like your typical duochrome shade that a lot of brands I feel start off with. And then here is the one. Here is the one from Sydney Grace, the purple, and then the purple from... So the purple ones are definitely different, but I can definitely see for the duochromes, Actually, just kidding. The Sydney Grace is at the top and the bottom is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I like the one from Sydney Grace better. I think the shift is more and it's just more reflective in my eyes. Those are the two major shades that I feel that you can actually compare in the palette. I definitely feel like the Sydney Grace is more bright and the Anastasia is a little bit more muted. So I definitely feel like this one's just a tiny bit more colorful, just like Mel was. I am not 100% sure that you can still get the Tiny Marvels palette. Last time I checked, which I want to say was a month ago, it was still available at Sydney Grace, but if it is, I'll go ahead and link it down below. All right, now comes the question on whether I would actually recommend this eyeshadow palette. While I give you my thoughts, I'll go ahead and insert some swatches here so that you can see every shade swatched on either my hand or my honey's. I feel like Anastasia Beverly Hills did an amazing job. I really do love the aesthetics of the palette. The packaging I feel is very timeless. It, like I said, that green, it's like a sage green. It reminds me of just, I don't know, calmness. Every single shade I used performed beautifully. We do get this about the same size palette. The pans are a tiny bit smaller and we do get 2 less shades, but I feel like performance wise, it's definitely correct as far as the price goes, like a high-end price. So you know what? I don't think Anastasia Beverly Hills has changed their pricing too much. They definitely have almost always landed in the high-end side of things. $55 is kind of up there, but I honestly don't think you'll be disappointed if you do purchase this palette. Okay, now as far as the little, I wouldn't even call it controversy. I didn't even know this was going on until I saw Tanya B. Will's video that she uploaded today on this palette. There is a disclaimer on the packaging where it states that some shades are not eye safe. I want to say at least half of the palettes in my collection have that same disclaimer. Certain shades, especially if you know you want them to be vegan and cruelty free, are going to have that red dye that they're probably talking about. I'll put it somewhere on here. I mean, it happens, you know. For me, it's not a big deal, nor is it a surprise, just because it's happened. We've seen other palettes put that disclaimer, and I am lucky enough to not have any eye sensitivities. Now, there are some palettes where certain shades have made my eyes burn a tiny bit. Off the top of my head, Jeffree Star Cosmetics, there's a couple of palettes where a couple of shades just really made my eyes burn, but after either 30 seconds or a minute, it would just kind of go away. So I would just make sure to check your labels. And I mean, if you are allergic to anything, if you have allergies or anything like that, I feel like you're pretty good or have that habit of checking labels. So if you have sensitive eyes, especially to that particular ingredient, then I would just say just skip on this launch. I'm pretty sure you can find other palettes that are similar to this color story that don't have that ingredient in it. That would just, you know, make you have a bad reaction. But for me personally, it's not really a big deal. All right, guys, well, that concludes this video. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys have no idea. I hope you enjoyed the 2 eye looks that I created. Don't forget to let me know down below which one is your favorite. I would love to know. I think this is my favorite eye look. Yeah, I think this one for sure is my favorite eye look. So let me know down below. Okay, with that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and you would definitely help me out in the algorithm of hopefully bringing some new and fresh eyes to my channel. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. I would love to have you. All right, guys, I will see you on the next video. Bye.